Are you getting interviewed?
Hi, my name is Max. I am a sixth grader at South Milwaukee Middle School. You are listening to the SMWay Podcast.
Good job. Welcome to the SMWay Podcast and the first episode of 2024. I'm your host, Daniel Bader. In our last episode, we heard about music students giving back to the community by using their talents to carol out in South Milwaukee. Today, we'll hear a little bit about South Milwaukee Middle School's Cold Winter Warm Hearts initiative last year and how the school is building on that effort this year. While the projects are meant to help others, there's some real thought behind what giving to others can do for an organization's internal culture and the members of that community. First, let's hear from two 8th grade students about what they did last year and its impact on. Joining me on the podcast today is Blake and Chance. They are 8th graders at the middle school. And I wanted to ask them about their service projects last year and kind of what they did. Chance, let's start with you. What was your service project last year?
Last year, with Mr. Dallas, we had to do book buddies. We went down the alleyway that leads to Rawson, and we got to read with the kindergartners.
Yeah, what did you read?
Grumpy Monkey.
Yeah. What was the reaction of the kindergartners, you being there in the classroom?
Most of them, they were shy at first. They were nervous, scared. Some of them didn't want to do it, but the rest of them were having fun, excited.
Yeah. Were they reading along with you, or were you reading to them?
Most of the times, well, you don't have to read with them. You can do other activities like a puzzle or something. Mm-hmm. But most of the times, you would read to them.
Okay. What do you think you got out of that? What, for you personally, going down there and doing that?
I mean, just seeing the kids smile.
Yeah. And then as a school, how did that, as a project, I guess your whole class did it together. How did that?
So then maybe when the kindergartners are older, they might want to keep doing it, and then it's a cycle. Everyone does it.
Mm-hmm. Did you feel like you were kind of a role model or learning by example?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Did the kids have any questions for you as you were a 7th grader then?
They had tons of questions. They were all asking people, "Where's your phone?"
Really? They want to know where your phone was? And did you have any questions you couldn't answer? Did they throw you?
Not really.
No? Okay. How do you feel like the classes in general felt after you guys were done with the program?
The classes back in school?
Yeah, like your home base. Like, how did they feel?
It was pretty nice. We had relaxing. Sometimes we would play games till the end.
Yeah, and as a group, do you feel like you were different than when you started the Book Buddy program?
Definitely.
Yeah. In what way do you think?
I don't know how to explain it.
Yeah. How about, did you just know your home-based people a little better, I guess? And so, tell me about your service project. What was yours?
So ours, in Miss Stoneman, we did a service project for partnering with the Humane Society, and we put around a bunch of posters and advertisement about adopting at the Humane Society.
Mm-hmm. And where did you put the posters?
So around the school, we put a bunch of posters, and then I think a few places outside of school, we actually put them across. So.
Did you guys make the posters?
Yes, we did.
And what did you have to think about going into making the posters?
What would make it sound not depressing, and then what would make it convincing.
Convincing, right? Not depressing because you don't want them to feel bad for the pets. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then did you have pictures of actual pets from the Humane Society, or did you just use kind of...
We had a few posters with the animals on them, and then the other one was we drew on the poster of an animal. Like we had a few good drawers in the class, so...
Nice. And what do you think the results were of that project?
I think we got a few, actually, to adopt.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Any classroom pets? Did any teacher take on a pet?
No, I don't think we had. No.
Not like elementary school where they have like a classroom pet. What do you feel like you got out of that, or you and the whole class got from doing something like that?
I felt like it kind of helped with our home-based bond together. Like, we all got to work together, do something fun during our study time. So we all got to kind of talk to each other, and it kind of just, we got to know each other more.
Yeah. Okay. And how did you feel, and either of you can answer this, a lot of the reason we're doing things like this in the middle school is to make you feel like you have some ownership of your school. Did that work? Did you feel that way?
Yeah, I definitely felt that way.
Yeah. So this year, I guess we're going to do that again and kind of maybe expand on it. Do you guys have ideas of what you might suggest the group do?
I guess I really haven't thought about it yet, but I'm sure I could brainstorm a few.
Is there anything that you guys are passionate about that you might want to incorporate into those things?
I mean, the Humane Society thing was fun.
How about you, Chance? More literature?
I think, I don't know if this is a stretch, but maybe at the end of the year, we have a walk where we run to the Racine.
The lake.
Yeah, the
It's a
lake.
walk to the
Grant
lake.
Park.
Oh, yeah, sure.
And we get ice cream and stuff. We could do that with the kids at Rawson.
Well, that'd be cool. Kind of buddy up with them, partner up with them. That'd be neat. Okay, well, we're really excited about to learn what you guys are going to do. I know you got meetings coming up about it. Next, we'll talk to Mr. Farina about kind of what the big picture story is. But thank you guys for chatting and being on my podcast.
Thank you.
So joining us now is Vince Farina, the middle school social and emotional learning coordinator. Vince, welcome back to the podcast.
Yeah, thanks for having me again. I appreciate it.
I was excited when I heard about this, that we were going to do something like this again. Can you kind of tell me from an adult perspective what we did last year and what we're going to do this year?
Yeah, definitely. So this all stemmed from the need in our building at middle school to make students feel like they belong. We've been running what we call the Panorama Survey now for a couple years, and we've noticed in questioning some of the students that they've reported back that they don't really feel like they have a spot where they belong within the building. They might have friends and people they talk to, but in terms of being a South Milwaukee Rocket and what that means, they don't really feel connected. So last year, our SMWay team, which is a team of teachers who try to build activities like this in our school year, decided that we wanted to build a project that would help the kids learn what community is, what communities they're a part of, and learn how to be a responsible member of a community. So we started the service project, and each year we give it like a little bit of a different title. This year it's Rocket Resolutions. Last year it was Cold Winters, Warm Hearts. And again, it's really an opportunity for the kids to understand that it feels good to do good. It feels good to help others, and that no matter what you're going through, we've talked in the past in our previous podcast about some of those issues that students deal with in and around school. But no matter what you're going through, there's always something good that you can do for others and help yourself feel like you're a part of that community.
Sure. So that feeling of belonging, is that common at the age, or is it, in your delving into kind of where that kind of came from, is that something in developmentally for children that age, or is it just something that we're addressing here?
I would definitely say it's more and more common across the country developmentally for students of the middle school age, early high school, late elementary. As I've mentioned, in the past, that social media, being online, it tends to distance kids from each other more so than it brings them together. And I think we're seeing some of that in schools now, where kids find it hard to interact face to face, and they don't know the proper social cues when interacting with people inside the school. So they distance themselves from the school. But when you see an online profile or people they're texting with out on the side, it looks like they're being a part of a community, when really they're feeling more and more alone and distant themselves.
Yeah, my son is in that age group, and he it seems mostly like they're kind of in foxholes firing at each other,
Right.
And just trying to survive.
Correct.
While staying in the group, at the same time, like being not ostracized.
Exactly.
Is mostly the worry.
And yeah, it's certainly not that they want to be distant and they want to feel they are alone. They want to be a part of those groups. I think, like I said, some of it is just not knowing how right now, how to get themselves to belong and be a part of those communities. Sure.
So taking ownership of a project or having a whole school activity like this is meant to counter that. And maybe if you could describe that a little bit more, like the being a rocket, like, how does that combat what we just discussed?
Right. Well, it really is getting kids to understand that, in order to make this a great place to be, no matter which school you're going to, you got to be able to work together. You all have to be responsible members of your school community in this case. And that, again, like I said, it feels good to do good. Like, we need to look for those opportunities to pull people up, really find ways that you can help solve problems that you're seeing happening in real time so that everybody can feel like they belong. Everybody can feel like they're coming to a safe place where they can be happy each day.
So what are some of the markers that you're looking for in these projects? Like, what do you...
Well, and that's a great question because it changes a little bit for each grade level. 6th, 7th, and 8th grade will, especially our 7th and 8th graders who have a little more experience with this, they tend to want to go out into the community a little more, out into South Milwaukee. For instance, last year we had a 7th grade group that decided to go to Rawson. They read with first graders. So they would go there once or twice a week, read with the first graders. I know that one was so popular and the kids enjoyed it so much, they actually extended it for the rest of the school year as opposed to just doing it in January. And then we've had groups of 8th graders who have done some work with our senior living homes. And our 6th graders did more work around the school. Like, we had groups who went around and picked up garbage. We had groups who did some fundraisers and door decorating contests. So it really covers a large spectrum of activities you can do. And we really want the kids to drive that. We give them the opportunity to come up with ideas, vote on it as a group, what's going to work best for us as we try to do this project.
Sure. We're in the strategic visioning process here, and I'm on the subgroup that is looking at community engagement, so maybe I'm just keyed into it. But in our last podcast, we talked about how the Apollo Jazz Choir is coming with a sense of responsibility for giving back with their talents. So they're out in the community caroling during the holidays, and that is a key message over and over. And it sounds kind of like this is the way the middle school is doing it.
Correct. Yeah. Like, again, we want the kids to understand that there's always an opportunity to help, and there's always an opportunity to make sure that you find places that you belong. And I do know, for as many problems as schools in general are having and issues we certainly deal with at the middle school, last year when we did this project, it was like a new environment for that month. Kids really dug in deep. They really enjoyed doing the project, a lot more smiles on their faces. And so much so that we've decided to extend it this year, that we're doing it throughout January and February to give all groups a little more time to just do a little bit more.
Sure. Yeah, and I noticed it. I went around before the winter break and took pictures of the door for the door decorating contest, and students were curious about what I was doing and why I was doing it, right? And
how come you get the phone in school, right?
Yeah,
that sort of thing.
That they all paid attention to me because I was carrying a cell phone around. Yeah, and they're like, "What are you taking a picture of?" And so it said this door, and I'm like, "Did you help with the door? And did you do it?" And a couple, not all, but they're like, "Yeah, I did that one. I did work." There's a bit of middle school pride. Mm-hmm. They weren't being too uncool about it, but I did that one. I did that one. So, kind of having skin in the game and helping your shape the community you live in. I can see how that would add to that sense of belonging or ownership, and kind of make middle school.
And definitely, like, for as much as we've talked about technology, social media, just kind of where kids are at pre and post COVID, some of the differences we see, where they're at relating to school. Deep down, they're still just kids. Like, they still get a kick out of doing some things like this, and they want to do good. They crave that. And we just have to keep finding ways that helps them bring it out of themselves.
So how for the parents so parents know what's some of the planning? How are you guys lining all this up to enable the students to be able to be successful in this?
Yep. So we talked in the past. Every Tuesday was Character Strong, and we've put that out in the newsletters. That's just our social and emotional learning curriculum to help build some of those lifelong character skills in kids that they need to be successful. So in place of those on Tuesdays for the next 2 months, so January 9th is our first meeting. February 27th will be kind of our culmination of everything. Kids will meet with their home-based groups. And again, the first meeting will be kind of just reviewing what our communities, what our service learning projects, why are they so important? And from there, they'll get to vote as a team and say, this is the project we'd like to take part in. And then they're going to get 6 or 7 weeks to really, like I said, dig in deep and fulfill those projects, whatever those might be. Each week, students and teachers will be kind of running a little timeline, taking notes. Here's what we worked on. Here are our next steps and what we need to plan for. So again, really building the skills in the kids that you can be a part of something great. It does take work. It does take planning. But at the end of it, it feels so good to have accomplished something as a team.
What do you expect parents might hear at home? When their students come home, what should they be hearing, or what do you hope they hear?
Ideally, I would love to have kids going home and saying, I'd like to continue this. I'd like to do something on my own, or as a family, we go out and help our local community. At the very least, what I'd love to hear is, we're doing something fun at school. I'm having a little bit better time. I'm invested in something a little more, and I'm really enjoying, like I said, accomplishing a kind of a big goal with other kids in my class.
Yeah. How are, I guess this is on me. I guess we'll share on social media what you're doing during the time period. And then our new website, we can certainly put things on there because, I think it'd be helpful. How can parents contribute? What can they do? Is there anything that they can bring to the table or reinforce at home that maybe would help out?
The big one, reinforcing at home, definitely. As we all grow older, get out of high school and college and start joining the workforce a little bit, I think we all start to realize a little more how important being a member of your local community is, volunteering, helping keep things clean and safe, and really showing those skills to the next generation coming up. So reinforcing that at home is going to be hugely important. And I know just based off last year, again, kids haven't really chosen projects this year, so we don't know how it's all going to unfold. But last year there was a lot of anything you can donate to help kids with the project. It could be buying supplies for invitations and cards to nursing homes, or it could be helping set up boxes for homeless kind of care packages. So you might hear some of that if you're a parent at home, and anything you're willing to do to contribute will be great.
Awesome. And then I guess for folks who don't know, we skipped over it a little bit, but the time the time of the day or the time of the week that you spend doing this, I think you said home base. It happens during home base. Or,
correct. Yeah, that's kind of like
what that is.
Yeah, that's our middle school study hall, you could call it. It's 35 minutes. Kids get every day opportunity for them to work, see teachers that they might need to see for extra help. Something like this, our Character Strong lessons or doing our service project, it's kind of like an all-purpose time that we like to use at the middle school.
Got it. So it's not taking away from instructional time, I guess is where I was going with that. It's built into the schedule already for some project time.
Yeah, that's been built into the schedule. Every day they have that 35 minutes. So.
Okay, well, it sounds like the students I spoke to are really excited about it. I'm looking forward to posting about it on our social media. Thanks for kind of telling us what we're doing.
Oh, thank you for letting us share out. We love letting the community know of all the good things we're doing.
Thanks again for tuning in to the SMWay Podcast. I'm your host, Daniel Bader. We would love to hear of anything you and your children are doing in the community, service project-wise, especially if you're a middle schooler, if you hear about their projects coming up in the next couple months. We would love to be able to share those, especially if they do anything themselves in the community. Blake, for example, the one of the students we spoke to, he's an Eagle Scout. If you know anything about that, there's a big service project to become an Eagle Scout. He's really young to actually have accomplished it. So we know our kids are out there and we'd love to share it. Share your stories at info@sdsm.k12.wi.us. Thanks again for listening. This is the SMWay Podcast.